We all know the routine factors that put our hearts at risk: smoking, a diet loaded with processed foods sitting for hours on end, and sky-high cholesterol numbers flashing on lab reports. These warnings have been drilled into us for decades, and for good reason. They're the heavy hitters, the ones doctors have been shouting about since the 1950s. But here's what's quietly shifting the entire conversation in cardiology circles right now. Cutting-edge research has uncovered 6 surprising lifestyle habits that can slash your risk of heart disease in ways the old playbook never touched. These aren't the obvious fixes. They're the subtle, almost hidden levers that modern studies are proving make the difference between a heart that struggles and one that thrives for decades. Think about it. For years we chased the big targets, dropped the cigarettes, hit the treadmill, count the calories. And yes, those still matter. But new waves of long-term research, following hundreds of thousands of people across continents, have revealed that the real game-changers often hide in the everyday rhythms we barely notice. Habits that feel almost too simple to be powerful. Habits that speak to how we connect, how we unwind, how we move, how we eat, how we stay aware, and even how we unwind with a drink. These 6 insights aren't replacing the basics, they're supercharging them. They're the missing pieces that turn good heart health into extraordinary heart health. And the best part? They're accessible to every single one of us, no matter where we live or how busy life gets. Let's start with something that might surprise you the most: the power of genuine human connection. We've all heard that loneliness is bad for mental health, but recent research has elevated it to a full-blown cardiovascular threat. Large population studies now show that people with weak social ties face a dramatically higher chance of developing heart problems, risks that rival those from high blood pressure or physical inactivity. When you feel isolated, your body stays in a low-level stress state. Cortisol levels stay elevated, inflammation simmers, and blood vessels lose their flexibility. Over time, that quiet storm damages the very lining of your arteries. But flip the script, and the opposite happens. When you invest in real relationships, those deep, laughter-filled conversations with friends, the Sunday dinners with family, the quick check-in texts that turn into hour-long calls, your body responds with a cascade of protective chemistry. Oxytocin flows, blood pressure eases, sleep deepens. And here's the beautiful part: you don't need a packed social calendar. Research proves that even a handful of meaningful connections, maintained consistently, can lower your long-term heart risk by significant margins. One study that tracked adults for over a decade found that those who felt supported socially had hearts that aged more slowly and fewer hospital visits for heart events. So how do you make this practical? Start small and make it non-negotiable. Schedule a weekly walk and talk with a friend instead of scrolling alone. Join a local club, book club, hiking group, cooking class, anything that brings you face-to-face with people who energize you. In our hyper-digital world, these moments are medicine. They're the reason some communities around the world, where family and friendship are woven into daily life, show remarkably low rates of heart disease despite other challenges. The research is clear. Your heart doesn't just need exercise and vegetables. It needs belonging. It needs to know it's not beating alone. Once you've strengthened those human connections, the next surprising habit flows naturally: learning to master chronic stress in simple daily ways. We all know stress is bad, but the latest research has pinpointed exactly how it attacks the heart. Chronic tension doesn't just make you feel overwhelmed, it literally changes your physiology. It keeps your blood vessels constricted, raises resting heart rate, and triggers low-grade inflammation that encourages plaque to form. Studies following stressed professionals for years have shown they develop artery blockages at rates 20 to 30% higher than their calmer counterparts. The breakthrough? You don't need to quit your job or move to a beach to fix it. Modern research has proven that micro-practices done consistently create measurable protection. 5 minutes of slow breathing in the morning can drop systolic pressure by several points. A short evening walk without your phone quiets the mind and resets the nervous system. Even setting a hard boundary like no emails after 8 p.m. has been shown to improve heart rate variability, a key marker of cardiac resilience. What does this look like in real life? Picture a busy parent who starts their day with 3 rounds of box breathing: inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. Or the executive who ends every Zoom call with 30 seconds of shoulder rolls and deep sighs. These aren't luxuries. They're the daily deposits that keep your cardiovascular system from overdrawing. The science is fascinating. When you activate the parasympathetic nervous system through these practices, your body shifts from fight or flight to rest and repair. Blood vessels relax. Inflammation markers drop. And over months, your heart literally works less hard to pump the same amount of blood. The newest studies are calling this stress resilience training, and the results are so consistent that major health organizations are now recommending it alongside traditional lifestyle advice. Building on that calmer baseline, the third habit research has spotlighted is movement, but not the kind you're probably imagining. Forget the punishing gym routines that leave you sore and demotivated. The latest evidence shows that the most protective movement is the kind you actually enjoy and can sustain for life. Guidelines still call for 150 minutes of moderate activity weekly, but the breakthrough research emphasizes enjoyment over intensity. When people do activities they love, dancing in the kitchen, gardening, playing with kids, swimming at sunrise, their adherence skyrockets, and so do the heart benefits. Here's why this matters so profoundly. Consistent, joyful movement strengthens the heart muscle, improves the elasticity of blood vessels, helps shuttle cholesterol out of the bloodstream, and reduces dangerous belly fat that wraps around organs. Studies tracking active versus sedentary adults have found that even light daily movement cuts cardiovascular mortality by up to 20%. The heart becomes more efficient, pumping more blood with less effort. Resting heart rate drops. Blood pressure stabilizes. The practical magic is in making movement feel like play, not punishment. If you hate the treadmill, try a dance class or a brisk walk while listening to your favorite podcast. If mornings are impossible, break it into 10-minute chunk stair climbing during lunch, evening yoga in the living room. The newest research even shows that exercise snacking short bursts throughout the day delivers impressive benefits. One fascinating study found that people who accumulated movement in natural ways, walking meetings, gardening, playing with pets, had hearts as healthy as those who followed strict workout plans. The message from the data is liberating. Your heart doesn't care if your movement looks Instagram perfect. It only cares that it happens regularly with joy. Now let's talk about the fuel that powers everything else, a way of eating that research keeps returning to as the gold standard for heart protection. This isn't about another restrictive diet. It's about abundance, filling your plate with colorful plants, healthy fats, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, and sensible amounts of fish and poultry. Red meat and sweets move to the occasional category, while olive oil, herbs, and spices become the stars. Large-scale trials following people for years have shown this pattern cuts the risk of heart attacks and strokes by around 30%, even in high-risk groups. Why is this so effective? These foods are packed with compounds that fight inflammation, stabilize blood sugar, lower harmful cholesterol, and keep blood pressure in check. The fiber from vegetables and grains acts like a boon for your arteries. The omega-3 south from fish calm erratic heart rhythms. Antioxidants from berries and leafy greens protect the delicate lining of blood vessels. And because the flavors are so satisfying, people actually stick with it. In practice, this looks like starting your day with oatmeal topped with berries and nuts, lunch as a giant salad with chickpeas and olive oil dressing, dinner featuring grilled fish or lentils with roasted vegetables. Snacks become handfuls of almonds or fresh fruit. The beauty is flexibility. 80% adherence still delivers massive benefits. Research proves you don't need perfection. You need consistency. And in a world of ultra-processed foods, this way of eating feels like coming home to what our bodies were designed to thrive on. The fifth habit might feel the most clinical, yet research shows it's one of the most empowering: regularly monitoring your own blood pressure. Most people with elevated readings have zero symptoms, which is why it's called the silent killer. But new home monitoring technology and long-term studies have proven that catching and managing pressure early changes everything. When you know your numbers, normal is under 120/80, elevated starts at 120 to 129/80, and high is 130/80 or above, you become an active partner in your heart's defense. The data is compelling. People who check at home and work with their doctors to adjust lifestyle or medications see their pressure drop by 4 to 5 points on average, enough to slash stroke risk by 20% and heart attack risk by 15%. It's like having a daily report card for your cardiovascular system. Patterns become visible: morning spikes from poor sleep, evening improvements from exercise. You can then fine-tune more movement on high-reading days, deeper breathing when stress shows up in the numbers. This habit is simple to adopt. Affordable monitors are widely available. Check twice daily at the same times, sitting calmly with feet flat. Log the readings. Share trends with your doctor. The research shows this proactive awareness prevents crises that used to catch people completely off guard. It turns potential emergencies into manageable adjustments. Finally, the sixth surprising habit: approaching alcohol with fresh eyes and honest self-assessment. For years we heard that a glass of red wine might be heart protective. But the newest, most rigorous research has largely overturned that romantic idea. Even moderate drinking raises blood pressure, disrupts deep sleep, promotes inflammation, and can contribute to irregular heart rhythms. Large analyses of hundreds of thousands of drinkers show that the risks start to outweigh any minor benefits at surprisingly low levels. The takeaway isn't prohibition for everyone. It's mindfulness. Some people, especially those with family history or existing risk factors, do best by avoiding alcohol completely. Others can enjoy an occasional drink without harm. But the key is honesty about its effects on your sleep, mood, and energy. Many who cut back or switch to sparkling water with citrus report clearer thinking, steadier blood pressure, and better overall vitality. The research encourages creative alternatives: herbal teas, mocktails, or simply savoring the social ritual without the alcohol. Your heart, it turns out, prefers the version of you that wakes up refreshed and inflammation-free. These 6 habits: deep connections, daily calm, joyful movement, nourishing abundance, blood pressure awareness, and thoughtful choices around alcohol, aren't isolated tips. They work together like a beautifully orchestrated symphony. When you strengthen relationships, stress naturally eases. When stress eases, movement feels easier. When you move joyfully, your appetite for real food increases. When you eat well, blood pressure stabilizes. When you track your numbers, you make smarter daily decisions. And when alcohol isn't clouding the picture, everything else shines brighter. The most exciting part of all this new research? It proves that heart disease isn't an inevitable fate written in your genes or your age. Up to 80% of cases are preventable when we address these subtle but powerful levers. You don't need to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. Pick one habit that speaks to you right now. Maybe it's calling an old friend this evening. Maybe it's downloading a breathing app and using it for 5 minutes before bed. Maybe it's swapping one processed snack for a handful of nuts and berries. Small, consistent actions compound into extraordinary protection. Your heart is listening to every choice you make. It's responding to the laughter you share, the breaths you deepen, the steps you take with joy, the food you savor, the numbers you track, and the clarity you choose. In a world full of noise and quick fixes, these 6 habits offer something profoundly hopeful: a proven path to a stronger, steadier, longer beating heart. So the next time you hear the usual warnings about heart disease, remember this: the research has moved forward. The future of prevention isn't just about avoiding the bad. It's about embracing these surprising, life-affirming practices that make your heart not just survive but truly thrive. Your future self, and every beat between now and then, will thank you for it.